Hello everyone, Santir here with the final part of the Ranger section of the Guild Wars 1 skill review project. Today we're talking about PvE-only skills and no attribute skills. We're going to go ahead and start with Triple Shot, just because it's up here. Obviously there's a Luxon version of this. So Triple Shot is 10 energy, 10-second recharge, bow attack, shoot 3 arrows simultaneously at a single target. Just to be clear on that. These arrows deal 25% less damage than they normally would. So you get 3 times damage, but each one's 25% less. So you're getting 75% plus 75% plus 75%, which does mean you're going to be dealing additional damage. However, all of this damage respects armor, so it's less exciting than you'd think. I like this skill okay if I'm using preparations to boost the damage that each arrow is doing, but otherwise I'm just not excited by it, and volley pushes a lot of preparations off bars. So it's a little underwhelming to me. I'm going to give this guy a 2. I'm okay with building around it, but I'm not going to... Basically, I'm not going to just throw it on a bar. It has a longest recharge at 10 seconds. 10 energy cost is a little bit high, but, you know, it's deal withable. It's not quite triple damage. It's the 75 plus 75 plus 75 is 225 damage. So it's 225% damage compared to a normal attack. But it does have a lot of costs associated with it. And like honestly, unless I'm getting benefit from preparations, I don't really bring this. I'd rather bring another skill that just does armor ignoring damage on it. Because like, imagine you're using this against a foe where your auto attacks are, I don't know, being quartered because they have tons of armor. So you're going from like, say, 30 damage to whatever 30 over 4 is. That's going to be roughly 8 damage, right? Well, this would then deal, say, 6 times 3, so that's going to be 18 damage against that foe. That's really underwhelming. However, compared to like penetrating arrows going to deal plus 21 damage, so that's going to be 29 damage plus a little bit of armor penetration, so it's going to be a little bit above that. You know, using those sort of rough numbers I threw out there. Triple Shot is just going to be really underwhelming against higher armor targets at high-end areas. It's going to be a lot more exciting against low armor targets in low-level areas. It's got the same sort of problems that a lot of elementalist spells have. With preparations, it can become a lot more exciting. For instance, imagine I have glass arrows. Each one of those is still going to deal plus 17 damage, so all of a sudden you're getting a lot more damage out of this. So this is great with preparations, but I'm not going to use it outside of it. Never rampage alone. So this one I'm going... Okay, let's just go and read it. I've referenced this a ton. It's 15 energy, 20-second recharge, skill. For 25 seconds, you and your pet attack 25% faster and have plus 3 health regeneration. The plus 3 health regen is really nice for counteracting the health regen from a vampiric weapon, so you can just kind of leave it equipped, and giving you and your pet a little bit of additional durability. But you're using this skill because it is 25 seconds or permanent uptime of plus 25% attack speed, which is huge. This alone, like, this is a 5. This is a solid 5 for me. This incentivizes me to bring a pet because this effect is so good. That's how kind of amazing this skill is. It is very, very, very powerful. It is very hard to use on non-ranger primaries because the energy cost is high, but you can. It's your Sun Spirit's title track skill. This is just a very, very strong skill overall. It basically outclasses a lot of the Rangers' increased attack speed skills, of which you notice most of them are in Beast Mastery, which is part of why this outclasses them so badly. Expert's Dexterity is basically the only Ranger increased attack speed skill that I really would consider otherwise, because this is useless without a pet. I'm pretty sure this requires a pet to actually use. So without one, I don't bring it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to double check that. I'm like pretty certain this requires a pet to use, but we'll test it out in just a moment. So yeah, this is a very strong increased attack speed skill, and it's a reason for using pets. So, okay, let's go ahead and move into no attributes, starting with Antidote Signet. So Antidote Signet is 1 second activation time, 4 second recharge. It's a Signet. Cleanse yourself of poison, disease, blindness, and 1 additional condition. I believe originally this only cleansed you of poison, disease, and blindness, and the one other additional condition was added later. Honestly, it could still be poison, disease, and blindness, and it would probably be a pretty good rating. But with that 1 additional condition, so this is like a 7 or an 8 or something. I literally will make a character secondary ranger for this skill alone. Now, I only go up to 5. That's as far as my rubric goes. But legitimately, this is like not the most powerful ranger skill, but it is aggressively powerful. This is one of the best ways of dealing with conditions on yourself in the entire game. There are other ways, of course, for dealing with conditions on other characters that are stronger, but this cost is low, the recharge is low, it does not require any attributes, it cleanses at least 1 condition up to 4. Getting rid of blindness is so useful on every physical attacking profession. This skill is just ludicrously powerful. Like I said, if I could go up to like 7, I would. It's a solid 5 as it is, because that's all the further my rubric goes. But I just want to just emphasize how ridiculously good this skill is. It does way too much for way too little cost. It can remove up to 4 conditions. It always removes 1. It removes one of the most debilitating conditions of blindness, along with other conditions. If you have like poison and burning on you, it gets rid of both of those. It gets rid of the cost to use this is just so low. It just requires a ranger secondary, which itself can be super low cost. So this is like literally this is a skill that I will make a character ranger secondary just to get access to it, because it just slots into a bar so easily. It's always useful. It's so ridiculously good. It's way too good. It does not need N1 additional condition, because guess what? It'd still probably be like a 4 or a 5 without the N1 additional condition clause, because removing blindness is and poison are so really useful. It might be more like it's probably more of a 4 in that case, but like with that 1 additional condition, it just shoots way high up. So this is an example of a skill that is way more powerful than it looks at first glance. It's just very strong. Called Shot. So this is 5 energy, 3 second recharge, bow attack, shoot an arrow that moves 3 times faster and cannot be blocked. I don't use this. It's probably good with something, but I'm going to be honest, like, here's the thing. It makes itself super accurate, but if this was like your next arrow, like, okay, so imagine this was like a shout. The next arrow you shoot moves 3 times faster and cannot be blocked. This would be sweet. This would be like a 3, but as it is, I don't really use this. Like, it maybe has theoretically some use on a warrior because they get armor penetration from strength on this, but even that's a terrible plan. I'd rather use focus shot or volley on a warrior was what I'm saying. I don't know what problem Called Shot is trying to solve, is really what it comes down to. I'm going to give this guy a 1, honestly. I don't use this. It's a cool name. It would be a sweet shout. It's just not a skill I have any particular use for. Icon's sweet, but it needs to do something more to get me to use it. And it just doesn't. So, here we are. Dual Shot. 10 energy, 10 second recharge, bow attack, shoot 2 arrows simultaneously at target foe. These arrows deal 25% less damage. So this deals 150% damage. Again, it's similar to Triple Shot in that it works well with preparations, and I wouldn't use it outside of that. Triple Shot, it was riffing off of this. This came out in Prophecies. Dual Shot came out much later. Triple Shot came out much later. Dual Shot here was in Prophecies. This is a 2 for me. I'm not going to use this outside of comboing it with preparations. It is good in that situation, but without using preparations, it's just not good enough. The additional damage from shooting 2 arrows is eclipsed by the armor ignoring property of other weapons almost all the time, so I'm just not going to use it. Forked Arrow. So this is 10 energy, 5 second recharge, bow attack. Shoot 2 arrows simultaneously at target foe. If you're under the effects of an enchantment or hex, you shoot only one arrow. So this one is arguably stronger than dual shot. It deals double damage, obviously, because you shoot 2 arrows, although each one will have its own damage roll. So that's double damage is a little bit of a dubious understanding. I don't use this one a whole lot. Again, it has the enchantment restriction. One of the other times you might want to use like dual shot or triple shot is with a conjure, which is an enchantment, which obviously doesn't work with forked arrow and being hexed. It makes this unreliable. Again, this works well with preparations, but I'm generally not going to bring this. Again, this is like a 2. There are some builds where I might throw forked arrow on. It does have a much shorter recharge than dual shot, which is nice, but it's a bit more finicky to use. You do have to be paying attention to whether or not you're enchanted or have a hex on you, because they'll shut it down. Like, using this to shoot 1 arrow is obviously terrible. You can just do that by auto-attacking without having to incur an energy cost. So, yeah. It's a variant on dual shot. Honestly, I'm going to generally pick dual shot ahead of it, but you can kind of go with it if you want. But it's kind of unexciting. Magebane shot. 10 energy, half-second activation time, 5-second recharge. Elite bow attack. If this attack hits, it interrupts target foe's action. If that action was a spell, it is disabled for an additional 10 seconds. This attack cannot be blocked. This one's okay. This is a 3 for me. It's an unblockable interrupt, which is nice. It's kind of sitting somewhere on like a disrupting savage shot. It deals full arrow damage. I'm probably going to want to bring like punishing shot ahead of it for a reminder or whatever. If you go all the way up here to punishing shot, it's got the same stats, 10 energy, half-second activation time, 5-second recharge. This deals plus 18 damage and interrupts the foe. The other one can't be blocked and disables spells for an additional 10 seconds. Like, the fact that this is no attribute is completely irrelevant. They could have assigned the disable to marksmanship and put this in marksmanship. It's fine, but largely unexciting. I want to do more with my elite most of the time. That's kind of what it comes down to. Quick shot. Quick shot is 5 energy, 1-second activation time, 1-second recharge, elite bow attack, shoot an arrow that moves twice as fast. That's it. I've heard people say that they like this. I've heard that people will work this into like ranger spikes, where you're basically trying to shoot a lot of arrows one right after another, typically by using interrupts and stuff to get some additional quick attacks in. People talk about weaving this in like every other arrow shot to increase their attack speed. I find this to be very dubious elite at best. I'm going to give it a 2, just in honor of those people who find it to be usable. I will admit that the increased attack speed is really nice, but spending your elite slot on this is really questionable in my mind. I don't use this skill like ever, so I want it to do something more or be like 3 energy, or I don't know. It just doesn't do that much. It has an activation time. It lets you get more attacks in theoretically around your bows, I guess, apparently people say. It makes your arrows more likely to hit, like cold shot, but cold shot doesn't take an elite slot. And basically, if you can tell, this is a design where certain people like it, and I am very dubious of that. And I'm giving it a slightly higher rating than I otherwise would in honor of them. In my mind, this is a solid 1. I don't know why you'd ever bring this. Actually, this is my thing. I'm going to give this a solid 1. I don't know why you'd ever bring this. And if you like Quick Shot and you think it deserves a much higher rating, make your own skill review project and explain why this is such an awesome skill. It would be curious. It just seems so underwhelming to me. Finally, Storm's Embrace. Storm's Embrace is a 5 energy, 30-second recharging stance. For 10 seconds, you move 25% faster. This stance is refreshed whenever you take elemental damage. So this is similar to Storm Chaser in its caring about elemental damage sort of thing. It's this weird 2-skill run buff stance theme. It's kind of a riff on that skill. So theoretically, if you're taking a lot of elemental damage, this is a run speed buff that doesn't end. I don't know when I care. like, I don't know. So, I don't really want to be taking elemental damage. I like being able to run faster indefinitely, but this is just kind of an unexciting way of doing that. So, to me, this is, I don't know. I'm going to give this a 2. I don't know if that's overly much, but honestly, I'd rather bring Storm's Embrace or Storm Chaser over Storm's Embrace. I'd rather bring Sprint. Sprint, which I cannot assign attribute points to. Right here. This is 8-second duration, 25% faster with only 15-second recharge. Obviously, Storm's Embrace can last longer if you're getting hit by elemental damage, but I'd rather not be. So I'd want something... Again, I don't have control over whether or not I'm taking elemental damage anyway, so I'd rather have control over the situation. So I'm very unexcited by that. Now, I did want to go check to confirm that Never Rampage alone only works if you have a pet. I do not currently have a pet with me, so if it doesn't work, then I will have confirmed that. Overall, Ranger is pretty interesting. It does have a lot of versatile stuff. It can use melee weapons pretty well. Yeah, you have no pet, so you can't use it. That's what I was thinking. Ranger is a cool profession. It does have some strong competition from Mesmer for disruption, Necromancer for degeneration, Elementalist for snaring. But overall, it's a sturdy package and can do a lot of cool stuff, and it has pets, which a lot of people like. So Rangers are cool and versatile, and super themed after Aragorn. So until next time, everyone, when I guess we will be talking about the Necromancer. So until then, take care, and goodbye.